These beautiful mountains hold Cape Town's most precious treasure, water. In 2018, Cape Town nearly ran out of water. Exotic trees like pines and eucalypts are a major part of the problem, sucking up water from the soil. It is now almost an unquestioned belief that non-indigenous trees should be eradicated, that they are a serious threat to the water supply, that they were wrongly introduced decades ago in the colonial era to gratify the Eurocentric tastes of privileged whites. But there are those who say this is wrong, even irrational, and there is much more to consider that these trees are an integral part of our lives and of the wealth of this country. We simply cannot do without them.
How are we getting up here?
So we're going to climb this tree. We're not using ladders.
Okay.
We're going to be using
To see what they mean, we joined arborists 𝗀𝗁𝗁𝗀𝗶𝗃 and 𝗀𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗀𝗁𝗁 in Cape Town's historic 𝗀𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 Gardens. They work to preserve large trees around the Cape Town area in gardens and public spaces. Leon says that exotic trees have a significant place in the ecosystem, especially in cities. Their existence brings value of their own, aesthetic and cultural, that people need deeply. And the trees deserve to be cared for. They were measuring one of the garden's champion trees, a Norfolk pine, to add to their records of what trees exist in the city as a resource for people to enjoy.
I feel like Carte Blanche is always trying to take me out. All the dangerous stuff that you might end up breaking a leg or losing a limb, that's where they put me. Hey?
They put you there.
We tried to lend a hand, but to no avail.
Yeah.
Okay, lift it up again. It's all right. Look here, I'll show you how it works.
I'm gonna
Unclip.
Yeah.
We'll get it off.
So we measured at 44.4 meters.
44.4 meters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much exactly. And that is a truly awesome height for a tree.
So you look at a tree like that, it's not indigenous to South Africa. A lot of
No.
people would say that that tree needs to be cut down because it's invasive.
I would want to be moving away from using words like alien invasive. We would prefer to talk about introduced species or introduced trees. So that would be, we could say, a friendly introduced tree. It's not an invasive. It actually has enormous cultural value, and it's not a tree that's taking over the catchment areas. Or there's a lot of trees indigenous to the country that just don't grow here. So by saying, oh, it must be indigenous, we're immediately limiting ourselves to what we can plant here.
A plantation and firebreak in 𝗀𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗀 is the perfect example of how eucalypts can be grown and maintained without risk to the water table or the natural fynbos fields.
Now we smoke the entrance, so the guard bees will run back into the hive.
Okay.
In the shade of these old and well-established trees, beekeeper 𝗀𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 says that exotic eucalypts have a crucial role to play in giving the bees a healthy environment.
Oh, there's some honey there? Yes. Nice.
What significance does this sort of area have? Because the minute you say blue gums, people are going to be like, get rid of them, they're invasives.
The blue gums, usually they have been planted as a firebreak or a windbreak, or they use it as timber for poles. What the beekeepers find is that the nectar flow during the December and January months are very significant to give a good honey harvest.
So these sort of eucalypts then have a role to play. Are they invasive?
Yeah, if they are, as they say, in a catchment area, then they will suck up a lot of water. But usually on the established farms, they are demarcated on pieces of land where they don't use up so much water. In terms of invasiveness, they can be restricted to not invade into, like, for instance, fynbos.
This debate over food, bees and water is still raging, and no one has found a resolution as yet. But bees' habitat, human culture and emotions aside, everyone agrees in the fragile catchment area's invasive trees like pines remain a real threat to the city's water. Some say greater than climate change. To prevent another water crisis from occurring again, the city started removing invasive species in remote mountain catchment areas.
The teams are clearing pine trees, which is most dominant in this site.
𝗀𝗍𝗄𝗃 wanted to do this work since childhood to ensure access to water for people in disadvantaged areas, after seeing people forced to collect water from streams.
This fynbos biome is very important. Those species, you cannot find them anywhere else except the Western Cape region. So it's very important that we try and protect this vegetation. So while we are doing the invasive clearing, we also try to ensure that the fynbos has a chance to grow, because these species, they outcompete the fynbos species.
If we do not do this clearing, what will happen?
We may end up losing the fynbos vegetation because the invasive species also have a fire hazard. And now that the fynbos vegetation is fire prone, it needs fire to resprout and for the seeds to germinate. And it does help with ensuring that there is more water that flows to the dam, since the pine trees, they have deep root systems and they also extract more water. So by clearing this, in the long term, we'll have more water that flows to the catchments.
Started in 2019, they say the project is already showing remarkable success in restoring water. But where they work is so remote and high up in the mountains, there's only one way to find out.
The utmost important thing that I want you to notice first is how low this blade can come down.
We got into a chopper. We flew with the Nature Conservancy, who are part of the Greater Cape Town Water Fund, a consortium dedicated to restoring the city's scarce water resources, and cutting down exotic trees is crucial to their work, no matter what tree lovers might think.
What you hear from the guys that have been working down here is that you're already seeing some of the fynbos starting to thrive, a lot more water going down to the lake there at the bottom by the dam.
They dropped us at the top of a steep canyon, and we walked down the treacherous slope to where they have been monitoring the water flow for a few years now. Richard Bugan is a monitoring and evaluation manager for the Nature Conservancy. He is passionate about using science to benefit both conservation and the people who live surrounded by nature.
How much of an impact do these exotics have on the water table or the water reserves in the Western Cape?
So they use significantly more water than the fynbos vegetation that they replace. And when the Nature Conservancy did the business case for the Greater Cape Town Water Fund, they found that if you remove all the invasives across those areas, this 54,300 hectares, you could reclaim an additional 55 billion litres of water for Cape Town. That's at current day usage, that's about 2 months of additional water supply. It improves water security, food security, but it also has a biodiversity benefit. So the fynbos will passively restore.
There is no doubt about the need to eradicate overgrown exotics to maximize water resources and protect the environment. But there is surely a place for a variety of trees to flourish, at least in urban landscapes.
What I would like to make a case for is a mosaic, a variety of different landscapes that can accommodate the fynbos, that can accommodate the urban kind of forest, as it were, and even plantations for that matter. There's not a need to be purist. We won't get that right. We're going to be clashing forever